Good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Commissioner meeting for January 29th, 2019. I'm John Hutchings. I'm the chair of the board, and to my left is Vice Chair Gary Edwards, Commissioner Edwards, and to my right is Commissioner Ty Menser. To his right is La Bonita Bomar, the clerk of the court. To her right is Romero Chavez, the county manager. To his right is Robin Campbell, the assistant county manager and finance director. And to her right is Elizabeth Petrich, deputy prosecuting attorney. Thank you very much for being here. And with that, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Menser to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And looking for an approval of the agenda today. For a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the board minutes of January 8th, 2019, and the agenda of January 29th, 2019.
Thank you.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda and minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did I hear you?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. And you combined them into one, didn't you?
Yeah, I tried to make it go faster.
Appreciate that, and I just took up time that you just saved. So now we're on the agenda, item number 1, and that is the opportunity for the public to address the board. But however, rules. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at all meetings. However, there are some basic guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. Number 1, the board does not respond to public comment. And on a need basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board. And when your 3 minutes are up, you'll hear a ding. Yeah, something like that on the machine here, that almost like the popcorn's done. And the meeting attendees cannot donate your time to another speaker. And the board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. Please silence your phones, your cell phones. I only see one person reaching, maybe two. Okay. Please silence your cell phones. No comments that are lewd or offensive or to a reasonable person. We ask you please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion for a for-profit business. No comments that are inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory. All materials that you provide the county may be considered public record, subject to public release upon request, pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. And remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you very much. And so what I'll do is I will call your name out, and I'll also call out the person that's on deck. So you'll be the second one. Come on up. So the first one up is Danny Madrone. Hi, Danny. And just kind of state your name, but also about where in the county you're from.
My name is Danny Madrone. I am a constituent of Thurston County, living in the city of Olympia, West Olympia. Thank you for this opportunity to address the commission. I'm here to speak with you about the county's response to the homelessness crisis, the brunt of which has impacted the urban core in Olympia. Last June, the Thurston County Board of Health, made up of the 3 commissioners, declared that homelessness and opioid addiction have become public health crises. The intent of this declaration was to prioritize the response to these issues. Since then, it's not entirely clear how the county is responding. And that's not because there hasn't been any response. I know that there is some work being done. However, there hasn't been any communication to the public about what's happening. Even at the State of the Community Forum, recently hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, Commissioner Hutchings talked about a lot of really good things that are going on in Thurston County, but he didn't mention housing or homelessness, so that had me a bit concerned. Your constituents need to know that the county sees these issues as an urgent priority. We need better communication on how the county is responding. We need funding for services that is commensurate with the level of crisis. We need the county to provide land where people can be, along with updated policies on public camping and mobile services to help people improve their situation. We need a strong regional response that relieves the pressure on the city of Olympia and helps people who are really, truly suffering. Thank you for your time. I look forward to learning more about how the county is and will be responding to the crisis around homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. And I forgot to mention who's up next, and that's Max Denise. And then up on deck is Robert Bruce. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and good afternoon, commissioners and managers and staff. I appreciate this chance to just say a word. The previous speaker has spoken very articulately about the homelessness problem, and I was just coming here to say that Olympia needs your help on homelessness. They have declared health and hygiene emergency, but the steps that they have taken look to me to be inadequate. For example, in a tent camp down in Olympia, there are 3 old porta potties, but there's no hand washing station. And it seems to me to be an easy thing to put a hand washing station in such a place. So they need your help with funding and maybe with some assistance in just logistics and finding ways to help with the problem. So I put that to you with respect, and we hope to hear how the Thurston County government can help Olympia, one of its main cities in the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Robert Bruce, followed by Esther Cronenberg.
Hi, I'm Robert Bruce. I'm from Olympia. I just wanted to ask for the county's help with the homelessness stuff that's happening in Olympia. It's like a really big public health and safety issue. I volunteer for a group called Just Housing, and we have this community volunteer program called Rolling Refuse Removal, which is where we try to provide basic garbage services to homeless encampments where there's not really, there's not services and maybe haven't been for many years, and so there's this accumulation, and this is on public property and also private property, and I guess I got involved with that about a year ago, and have just been feeling really inspired by that model, because we work with camp residents to organize and share the responsibility of cleaning up places and kind of creating better living conditions for people. And I like that it's been organized pretty much just by talking to people and trying to convince them that it's a good idea. It hasn't really been a top-down thing. So there's a lot of community engagement around that, but I guess our capacity is kind of limited in some ways. It would be nice. We spent almost $6,000 last year on dump fees just to try to take stuff to the dump, and it would be cool if we could get maybe some of those covered or help with that. Yeah, I just, it's a good model, but it's we could really use some help just to make it a bigger thing, and I think the more individual community engagement type programs there are, it's gonna take everybody, it's gonna take all kinds of people to make it work, not just political people. So I think that can be a good way to sort of like shift public opinion maybe towards like the compassionate side of things. You know, there's like this whole conversation going on right now that's like a bigger thing about like what philosophically like our response to homelessness should be, and you know that's going to continue to go on as we're like dealing with the effects of it like happening right now. And so I would say that even though that's like a very controversial like conversation, like the public health and safety thing is like a point of unity that like people who disagree on the first argument like agree on the second one, just like, you know, they really see that something needs to be done and we need help.
Thank you, sir. You wanted to hear that beep, didn't you?
Yeah, just curious.
Before we go on, before anybody leaves early, after this public comment session, are you going to address that issue?
If you give me the floor, yes.
I will do that, yeah. This is Esther. Come on up, Esther, please. And then we have John Pettit.
Hi. I'm speaking as a member of the League of Women Voters, Thurston County, to invite the commissioners and the residents of the county to a series of public forums we're co-sponsoring with the Olympian about water resources. First, let me tell you a little bit about the League's history and its goals. The League was founded in 1920 during the convention of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, just 6 months before the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, giving women the right to vote after 72-year struggle. The League began as a mighty political experiment designed to help 20 million women carry out their new responsibilities as voters. From the beginning, the League has been an activist, grassroots organization whose leaders believe that citizens should play a critical role in society and in advocacy. It was then and is now nonpartisan to avoid becoming mired in party politics. This holds true today. The League is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public. The League encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We believe in the power of women to create a more perfect democracy. Women know what it's like and what it means to bring life into the world and how to nurture it to its full potential. Women act for the good of the whole family and over the individual. It is in this spirit that the League is hosting these water forums. As you know, the issue of water availability and water quality is becoming ever more serious as development pressures the development pressures on our natural resources continue. Water laws and regulations are complicated, involving many stakeholders, from the tribes and municipalities to rural residents, farmers, aquaculture, industry, and groups working to protect the environment. It's critical the general public understand the true status of our state's water resources with the best available peer-reviewed and expert information. It's no accident the League has a large number of former educators as members. Educators inherently are interested in helping all their students succeed by guiding them to acquire skills they'll need to be a benefit to themselves and society. In the same vein, our League is presenting these forums to ensure the public has the most up-to-date, accurate information to make informed decisions. The League has also been a fierce advocate for open government. It will always fight to expose any attempts to avoid transparency by public officials, knowing full well that such attempts invariably tend to benefit the rich over the poor, the powerful over the people, the individual over the family. We envision a democracy where every person has the desire, right, knowledge, and confidence to participate. With this goal in mind, we invite you to our first forum on February 5th from 6 to 8 at the Olympia Center. We have the great good fortune to have the county's own hydrogeologist, Kevin Hansen, present on the relation between groundwater and streams. Also speaking will be David Trout, Natural Resource Director of the Nisqually Tribe, who will speak about the processes and outcome of the Wyra 11 Planning Unit and the problem of I-5 as a dam over the Nisqually. We look forward to your attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And this is the flyer, I believe, that you dropped off for us?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. John, followed by Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Pettit. I live out in Rich Road, Southeast Olympia. There's several topics, and I'm really glad to hear that water resources is an important one that's coming up. The homeless issues in Olympia certainly is something that the Board of Health should be dealing with. In fact, Olympia seems to think it has a social department of itself, but in fact, the public board of health that you have is in fact the ones that are responsible to deal with the issues. The city is outside of its boundaries to even be doing the things it does. The thing that brought me in today, though, was it had to do with a little bit of memory and a little bit of frustration. 2 years ago, almost to the day, two of the commissioners on the council here right now voted to purchase a building right over here, $1.8 million from one of their campaign contributors, without ever getting an appraisal, without ever getting an inspection on the property. 1.8 million, and the purpose was to build for the upcoming courthouse facilities. Oh, I guess staff must have changed their mind. Staff is deciding, staff is running the thing. And the reason why I'm so concerned about this is because Thurston County has a history of the commissioners making decisions without the people. In fact, right now, Thurston County has $57,417,000 in debt, outstanding debt. Here's out of one of your sheets here, just off the track. How much of it was voted on and approved by the people, the voters? None. Zero. So when I read in the paper there's thoughts that you need to spend $316 million, maybe $250 million is for a new courthouse facility, I'm just going completely bonkers because I don't think you guys even have a concept of how much money that is. You know, the Olympia City Hall site's a 10-acre site. So if you broke it down per square foot for the number of dollars that's being talked about, that's $750 a square foot. Right across this Plum Street from this is one of the properties that Vine Street Investor owns. What's its value? Has 85,000 square feet on it. It's $18 million. 18 million for about the same number of square feet as 316 million. In fact, 316 million is more than any individual group or taxpayer pays, with the exception of Puget Sound Energy on the value of their property. All of the properties are rented by to the state from Vine Street, 277 million. You guys are way out of bounds. You need to stop listening to staff. It's not your money. It belongs to the people. Put it on front of an advisory ballot, and let's let the people talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Terry?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Terry Ballard, and I own 2 properties in Tanglewild, which is Thurston unincorporated, and I'm sorry to say I own 1 in Olympia. Quick note, this building or whatever for this courthouse, I never knew until my friend brought it to my attention that all of Capitol Mall is worth $167,000. Wow, that's a nice luxury courthouse. As far as the homeless situation in Olympia decided to go on their own. Okay, they decided not to include the Health and Human Services Department of the county. They don't have one, but they want to enlist caseworkers for that reason. I don't know why they're not coming from the health department. As far as the land that's chosen is the tiny houses. Little information on the tiny houses. Okay, the tiny houses is going to cost $405,000 to Olympia, that I'm paying for actually, for just startup fees. They're going to pay another $351,000 a year for staffing. Okay, and for their case manager, caseworker, additional caseworker benefits, that's $111,776 that should be coming from the health department. But Olympia decides to take it on their own. With reoccurring monthly costs for sewer, water, electricity, and everything else, we're at a total of $261,360. Wow. That's a lot coming from Olympia, who's a Class 2 city and doesn't have a health department, therefore should not be in the business of homeless population. And if you calculate it all out, that's $1,700 per person in that tiny homeless camp. Wow, that's a lot of money. Okay, and one of the city council people decided that, and I will quote it, the City of Olympia and Veterinary Services, which one of the city council people own, wish to protect animals from the spread of disease or illness by installation and construction of a fence and grant an exclusive easement, I put exclusive in there, between the parties, property and. Okay? What diseases are transferable to animals? This states this in this. This is why the whole reason why the easement came up, and I'm concerned. So they're putting diseased people in these camps, okay? And we're to protect the animals next door with an exclusive easement, but we're not protecting the people. Where's the fire inspectors? Where's the health inspectors for these camps? Where's the safety about these camps? Okay? There's a lot of logistics that's missing here that we need to attend to, especially from the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Is there anybody in the gallery that would like to address the commission, though you may not have signed up? Yes, ma'am. Come up and just state your name and generally where you are in the county.
Hi, my name is Tyler Gundel. I'm a resident of Olympia in Thurston County.
May I have your name again?
Yes, Tyler Gundel.
Tyler,
I'll
thank you.
speak slower. My name is Tyler Gundel, and I'm also an organizer with Just Housing. For people that aren't familiar with it, Just Housing is a local grassroots group that organizes with people that are currently homeless to advocate around basic rights and also the emergency needs that people have. So we're known for two things. One is the political advocacy we do around how local governments interact and deal with encampments. We're also known for partially what you heard from Robert, but the direct support that we provide to encampments. We're currently the group that is focused on providing outreach and supportive services to encampments within Thurston County. Part of that is the garbage removal that Robert spoke to. We also do outreach, we provide emergency supplies. We help residents put together organizing for self-governing their camps, and we help to facilitate conflicts that come up between the encampment residents and their neighbors, whether that's a local business or housed neighbors in the area. So for us, as we see our regional communities beginning to really take responding to this crisis seriously, a big need that we see is resources and funding for what we call shelter in place, which is providing some basic supports to mitigate the public health and safety at existing encampments. We absolutely support setting up mitigation sites and other legal places where people can move to, as well as more shelters. That's a huge capacity need. But we also believe that finding ways to provide support around the basic things like garbage, bathrooms, survival supplies, first aid, hygiene, that those things, when we focus on that and provide those resources where people currently are, goes a long way in providing support for a lot of folks. We know it's going to take a long time to come up with enough housing, shelter, mitigation sites so that everybody has a legal place to be. And it doesn't mean that every place where people currently are is perfect, but we've found that people are pretty smart about finding where they choose to set up and also who they choose to live with. There's a lot of intentional communities out in our woods that we don't see, and we have a lot of experience. We have worked with one encampment called the Nickerson Encampment, which we've helped facilitate a partnership with a church that provides propane, laundry, we help with garbage, we help with propane, providing water. It's not perfect, but it's a huge step from where they were 6 months ago. So we have a lot of experience and would love to talk with you about how we can hopefully expand this to some other encampments in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyra, and thank you for your advocacy and volunteerism. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to address the commission? Good, all right, thank you. That closes the public comment portion of this. And This is why when the public, the citizens have the right to come in and address the commission or sound off, we're not allowed to comment or ask questions or engage because it would take forever. I know we have a lot of thoughts on these topics. And so I'm going to turn to the county manager because about mid-December, I talked to the county manager and asked for some type of a briefing, work session, something on this topic. And so you have the floor, Romero. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay? And so in one of the testimonies that you received today, the question was asked what the county has done since the Board of Health declared an emergency on homelessness. And what we have done, we have hired a homeless coordinator, and she is currently working with the City of Olympia and how we can coordinate efforts. We have distributed, in addition to the normal distribution of the homeless and housing dollars on a yearly basis, we released emergency funds, close to $250,000, that was late 2019, where we distributed to the Community Care Center as well as Salvation Army. And also, we have already scheduled a planning session on February 7th, where the commissioners will have the opportunity to hear a presentation from staff from the City of Olympia and start engaging the conversations as to how the county can be part of the regional solutions. I do agree, from my point of view at least, that this issue needs to be addressed in a larger context that requires more than just the City of Olympia. It requires the county and the rest of the cities. And the February 7th is a good first step as to how we can explore opportunities, whether there's any mitigation sites that we can have, or any other means as to how we can attempt to address the homeless issue, along with the rest of the cities, not just with the City of Olympia. What we have done certainly is not enough. What we could probably do may be beyond our means, but we have to do something. And I believe the county commission, as well as staff, is committed to look for ways as to how we can start addressing this matter. I just wanted to address that. As a matter of expectations.
Are you going to still on that same topic, or are you changing topic?
On the same topic, on the February 7th, this is a meeting. This is open to the public, but it will not be an opportunity for the public to provide testimony. So it's a big difference. This is a planning session where the commissioners will have the opportunity to talk among themselves. City of Olympia representatives will maybe come in to give a presentation to the commissioners. So again, this is open to the public, but it's not a public setting where the public will be providing testimony. Just to want to make sure they.
And our Public Health and Social Services will be in attendance, and as the BoCC, we are also the Board of Health Commissioners. And so we're going to look at all kinds of things and options to address what the CDC calls, and I call, diseases of despair.
Yeah, and at this point, we have a scheduled this planning session to begin, I believe, at 10 in the morning, and it's located on the Polo Work site, located at the Tilly Road. And that is right now a tentative location. Depending as to how the presentation will go, we may move that planning session to this room. So I will ask you to be cognizant that perhaps the location is going to change.
Good, thank you, sir. Any other items you need to address?
As part of my report?
Okay. Yes, as for your report, that's it.
Yes, I'd like to follow up to public testimony you received on January 8th. And this is, let me begin with Mr. Terry Ballard. He made a testimony where he used a specific name of staff, including false reporting and perhaps suggesting that this staff member should be fired. I will encourage Mr. Ballard to send me a specific letter outlining the specific issues as to what you perceive to be any mishandling of a public employee. And again, I will encourage you to be specific on that. Also, you received public testimony with from Mr. Durker as well as Mrs. Kernerberg, and Mr. West, which was urging the commission to sign a letter that will be submitted to the governor, urging the governor to declare an emergency related to homelessness. You had a discussion on this matter, and you agree to go ahead and sign that letter. That letter has not been sent yet because we wanted to wait, I believe, until the time and point count come with new numbers, and we'll include those numbers on that letter. And in addition to that, I will make that letter available to the city managers to see if the mayors would like to co-sign that letter as well.
Is that it, sir, or you got more?
I have some more. And also, I'd like to report as to your activities that you went through high level on the last 2 weeks. On Tuesday, January 15th, at 2 in the afternoon, since we didn't have a Board of County Commissioners meeting, you had the Civic Center and Courthouse project. It was a meeting with elected officials in the City of Olympia, where each one of them give their perspective and their ideas as to how the courthouse projects will be done. On Wednesday, January 16th, at 1:30 in the afternoon, you had a briefing related to a proposed franchise agreement for YCOM, and also you had a briefing on the CPED, the Community Planning Economic Development Department. On Tuesday, January 22nd in the afternoon, we did not have a Board of County Commissioners meeting. In lieu of that, you held an executive session where you discussed potential financial strategies related to the courthouse. And exiting the executive session, you took a vote on choosing, on a 2-to-1, choosing the Plum Street as the preferred site for the new courthouse project. On Wednesday, the 23rd, you had a briefing on the state of affairs for the Office of Public Defense, as well as the Public Health and Social Services Department. And then you held an executive session related to current litigation. And then 3 in the afternoon, you had a briefing from City of Olympia staff related to the homeless response plan. And on Thursday, all of you, including myself, participated on the point-in-time count, and that was an effort to have a homeless census across the county. On February 25th, you held interviews to find the new IT that will be the Informational Technology Director, and also follow up to that, those interviews, you held an executive session to look at their qualifications. On Monday, yesterday, you had attended the executive seminar related to the emergency seminar that's coming up in February, and there was an orientation and training for you. And that's all I have for now.
All right. Thank you, sir. Moving on to number 3 on the agenda, it's the consent items A through N. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to approve consent items A through N.
Second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent items A through N. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those all carry. Moving on to department items now. Item number 4 on the agenda is the sheriff, contract with the City of Rainier. So we have Under Sheriff Tim Braniff here. Come on up, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Romero. What we're requesting is a move to approve to authorize the sheriff to sign the contract that we have contracted police services with the City of Rainier. And it's for $265,518 for 2019, which includes the law enforcement service for 2 deputies, as well as a new patrol car for them to supplement the cost for that. The Sheriff's Office currently has a contract and has had a contract since July of 2013. It's a 5-year contract with incremental increases to cover the salary costs as well over the next 5 years. We also have a partnership with the City of Rainier as well as the school district to provide school resource officers within the school district itself. So it's a great partnership that we have with the city. We provide a sergeant that provides monthly updates to the city compared to what we're doing in the city for enforcement, for police services, And we'll continue that partnership with this authorization to sign that for over the next 5 years.
You're always on duty and never off guard, are you?
That's correct.
That's right. Any questions or comments?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Gary?
I would make a motion to approve to authorize the sheriff to sign the contract with the city of Rainier for $265,518 for 2019 to provide law enforcement services to the city and purchase a vehicle.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you.
It's a great program.
It is. Thank you.
Number 5 on the agenda, Central Services, a bid award for Project 25562, Coroner's Office Air Handler Project. Hello, Mike.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Crow. I'm Capital Project Manager 2 with Central Services. Central Services is planning to upgrade the air handling units at the coroner's office.
Hey, Michael.
The project.
Oh, yeah, can you speak?
Can you move the microphone?
There you go.
There, that better?
Yeah,
Okay.
much better.
The project is to replace the existing air handling units nearing the end of its life and to correct an air cross-contamination issue between the morgue and the office spaces within the building. On January 15th, 2019, 3 bids were received and opened for Central Services project number 25562, the coroner facility air handling replacement. The bid tabulation sheet is attached. The bids were in response to a Small Works roster invitation to submit bids advertised on Builders Exchange. The apparent low bidder is Capital Heating and Cooling of Lacey, Washington. We recommend the award of the base bid in the amount of $78,300 plus the additive alternative, number 1, in the amount of $25,600, which replaces 3 duct furnaces. The total amount of the base bid plus additive alternate 1 is $124,461.81, including Washington State sales tax and a 10% contingency. The engineer's estimate with Washington State sales tax and 10% contingency was $137,759. The previously approved overall budget is $190,000 funded from the building reserves. The project supports the county strategic plan number 16, provides safe, secure, accessible, and functional facilities to effectively house the county services and associated workforce. Replacing the end-of-life heating and cooling systems at the coroner's office will improve the building's efficiency and overall operations. I'd gladly answer any questions you might have.
Questions to Michael? Gary, any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Go ahead.
I would like to move to award a bid in the amount of $124,461.81, including Washington State sales tax and 10% contingency for the Coroner's Office Air Handler Upgrade Project number 25562 to Capital Heating and Cooling of Lacey, Washington, and authorize the Central Services Director to sign the contract and any change orders for the project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, that do not exceed the 10% contingency.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Number 6 is Public Health and Social Services. And we have our PHSS Director, Shelley Slaughter, in the house talking about housing fund process. Hi, Shelley.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, I'm Shelley Slaughter, Director of Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. And one of our programs is the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention, which is responsible for coordinating and distributing funding for homeless and affordable housing projects each year. Last year, the Board of County Commissioners distributed approximately $8 million to 35 different nonprofit agencies in our community. The Board of County Commissioners can elect who advises you to make these recommendations. This action recommends that you authorize the Community Investment Partnership or the Health and Human Services Council, also known as the HHSC and CIP, to review the homeless and affordable housing funding applications submitted by community agencies in response to our planned 2019 request for proposals, and recommend that the Board of County Commissioners authorize myself, the Director of Public Health and Social Services, to coordinate the drafting of an interlocal agreement with the cities to outline a new process for distributing these funds starting in 2020. This is in alignment with Thurston County's Strategic Plan Initiative 4, which is collaborate with community partners to reduce homelessness and implement Thurston Thrives housing strategies. Should you approve this action, we will advertise this on our Public Health and Social Services website.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead.
Just a comment that I think this is a good move because I know we're working on a potential process for the future, but there hasn't been time to put that all together. And so to fall back on the group that's had a long history in the community of making these decisions and reviewing proposals makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm glad this was brought forward and that we're making this change at least for 2019.
Go ahead, Gary.
I would move to authorize the Community Investment Partnership, CIP, or the Health and Human Services Council, HHSC, to review the homeless and affordable housing funding applications submitted by community agencies in response to the 2019 request for proposals and make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to coordinate drafting an interlocal agreement with the incorporated cities to outline a new process for distributing the homeless and affordable housing funding starting in 2020.
I wanted to make an amendment to eliminate the word incorporated from the city so that as we go through this process, we'll have a broader scope. Is that proper?
So do you entertain that friendly amendment?
I would second that friendly amendment.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded as amended. Well, now discussion. And discussion is, I want to say, I've been waiting for this for quite some time, so I'm happy, depending on whatever the vote is. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Shelley.
so much, Commissioners.
Number 7 is Public Works. Request for approval of interlocal agreement with TRPC. Scott here. Here, Scott.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Scott Davis with the Public Works Department. So I'm here to request for consideration of approval of an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Regional Planning Council, City of Lacey, City of Olympia, Intercity Transit for a Martin Way corridor study. The Martin Way corridor that we're looking at is about a 7.5-mile corridor from Pacific Avenue southeast and goes east to Marvin Road or SR 510 on the east side of the corridor. This corridor carries between 9,000 and 35,000 vehicles per day. And depending where you're out in the roadway section. And as you might imagine, because of the amount of traffic volume, the roadway experiences safety and mobility challenges for all modes of travel, whether you're driving a vehicle or you're walking or biking. So in 2018, we formed a partnership with Intercity Transit, City of Olympia, City of Lacey, as well as Thurston County Regional Planning, and applied for federal funding to examine this corridor and look at key mobility, safety, land use challenges, and develop basically a unified vision for the corridor, because it's a multi-jurisdictional corridor. It's not just one agency that can solve some of those challenges in that corridor. And the study will include the basics, existing condition report, but ultimately community engagement and an action plan at the end of the day, so we can look forward to having some actions to help improve that corridor safety as well as mobility. Due to the regional nature of this project and the project partners, we're asking to contract with Thurston Regional Planning Council to administer the project with the Washington Department of Transportation. This works well with TRPC's mission and vision, and also their staff are very experienced in regional planning activities for this area. The total cost of the study is $523,410, which includes $452,000 and $750,000 from the regional allocation of the Federal Service Transportation Improvement Program. Thurston County Public Works is providing a local match of $23,410, with the other partners contributing an additional $40,000 $45,000. The local match is coming from the local match for Thurston County Public Works is coming from our county road fund and is part of our 2019-2020 budget. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
No.
Scott, any questions or comments?
No.
All right, is there a motion?
You know, I would like to say the reason oftentimes we don't have comments on these, this is for the audience, is because we've discussed these in depth over several work sessions prior to this meeting. And I'd just like folks to know that we just don't ramble on and okay everything. We've had quite in-depth discussions.
You're not sliding one underneath the door.
That's right. I would move to approve the interlocal agreement with Thurston Regional Planning Council, City of Lacey, City of Olympia, and Intercity Transit for the Martin Way Corridor Study for a total cost of $523,410.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
That was 7A. Now 7B, Mackenzie Road tree removal. Lucy, welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Lucy Mills, Thurston County Public Works Road Operations Manager. Today I'm here to ask you to approve the removal of a big leaf maple from Thurston County right-of-way located adjacent to 1315 Mackenzie Road Southwest. Last fall, staff received a request from a citizen to remove the tree that was declining in health. The staff confirmed that the tree is in the county right-of-way. An assessment of the tree's condition was performed by a certified arborist, which recommended that the tree be removed due to a cankerous infection. The tree is located in the sensitive areas of interest listed in Thurston County Code 13.56.310, Vegetation and Landscape Management. Per that code, whenever a person proposes to remove or trim a tree with one of the sensitive areas of interest listed, approval must be obtained from the Board of County Commissioners prior to that removal, which is why I'm here today. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
I do. We don't have, at Thurston County, we don't have an arborist, do we?
We do not.
So we have to go out and hire. And how often does this come to the BoCC to give permission to take a tree out?
Very rarely, only if that tree is listed in that sensitive area group. I think the last time I was here was probably 4 years ago.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the removal of a big leaf maple from the Thurston County right-of-way located adjacent to 1513 Mackenzie Road Southwest.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 7C, master agreement with PSE for tree lighting services. And Scott, come on back.
All right, Scott Davis, Thurston County Public Works. I'm here requesting approval of a master agreement with Puget Sound Energy for street lighting services. So Puget Sound Energy provides street lighting services to Thurston County, and right now we have about 1,000 street lights. About 460 or so are actually owned and maintained by Puget Sound Energy. Those are street lights that are on utility poles. So all the power utility poles are running, power and cable and everything else. There's little street lights hanging over some of them, and those are actually owned by Puget Sound Energy and maintained, but we request them to be put in certain situations. It could be because school kids are waiting for a school bus at an intersection. It could be for other safety or other reasons as well. Putting streetlights in these Puget Sound Energy poles is actually fairly cost effective. Instead of putting in a new light, it costs maybe a few $100s to put in a light, just a one light hanging on a utility pole, versus could be several $1,000s to put in a full new light standard you might see in an urban street. And so it's very cost effective, especially for the rural and suburban areas of our roadway systems where much of the infrastructure in the urban areas isn't there. And so these are cost effective ways to improve safety for our community. Let's see here. So to continue these services with Puget Sound Energy, they've asked us, Thurston County, to enter into a master lighting services agreement. This agreement is intended to be ongoing unless ended by either party. It's very similar to the interlocal agreements we have with City of Lacey and Olympia and the other towns and cities within their community when we provide services to them or they provide services to us. So it's very similar from that perspective. The street, when we do request services and the lights are installed, they are funded by the county road fund, and that money is included in the 2019-2020 20 budget, and we allocate about $15,000 a year for street lighting installations, whether it's through Puget Sound Energy or through other sources. The last couple of years, 2017, 2018, we've averaged about 8,500 or so, where we spent on Puget Sound Energy to install street lighting on county roadways. Let's see. I think that's it, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Questions?
No, sir.
Okay, then.
I would move to approve the Master Lighting Services Agreement with Puget Sound Energy for street lighting services and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Scott. 7D, resolution for temporary closure in the Grand Mound area. Welcome, Teresa.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm Teresa Parsons with the Thurston County Public Works Engineering Division. And today I would like to request permission for a temporary road closure to help facilitate an intersection improvement at 198th and Old 99 in Grand Mound. There's a proposed detour route up on the screen. I also have, if you want, a handout. Do you need this? Do you want to look at it?
No, I don't need that. Do you want a copy of the map?
I've got it right here. So
Okay.
Okay. Need a copy, Gary?
No, I do not.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Teresa.
So, as you're aware, Grand Mound is growing, and there's quite a significant increase in traffic associated with that development. One of the larger developers in the Grand Mound area is the Chehalis tribe, and the county and the tribe have collaborated on this road improvement. The tribe bid and awarded the construction contract to Roglan's, and the contractor's ready to start work. Just so you know, Jim Gibson is the project manager for the tribe, so he's going to be the main point of contact for the construction on the ground, and he's already done significant one-on-one discussion with the property owners down there, and we're working on making sure that the word gets out on what's going on. The detour route is proposed to be Sergeant Road, which is in green. That is the county right-of-way. The tribe also owns property to the north, which has a roadway on it called Ralph Heck Way, and that's in blue, and they are more than willing to allow that as an alternative route too, to help facilitate traffic through that area. So the traffic officially detoured down Sergeant Road, but it can also take other options. Across 198th on the east side is a development that includes Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Quiznos, and several other businesses. We will be closing that driveway at the same time, but there's a driveway just to the north and just to the south with some internal aisles that will allow traffic to flow through there. Construction will help facilitate flow and help prevent backing traffic up into the key intersection of US 12 and Old 99. So with that, the tribe and the county staff have talked to businesses and property owners, and we are going to post information on our website. There's emails that will go out, and signs will be posted. The proposed road closure would begin 8 a.m. on February 5th and end 5 p.m. on May 1st. The project supports initiatives 2 and 8 of the county's strategic plan, improve community health, wellness, and safety, and support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. And I would like to request that the board allows for this closure for that time frame.
Questions?
And
Comment?
Teresa, who's paying the bill here?
So the big bill's being paid by the tribe. The county designed the project, the tribe is building it.
Okay.
Teresa, how clear are these timelines for the construction? I mean, can you precisely say that's the amount of time you'll need, or if you need more time, do you have to come back to us? How does that work?
If we needed more time, we would have to come back to you because this is the limit to the closure. Working with Jim, we feel pretty comfortable that this is a good time frame, and with any luck, it'll be sooner.
Thanks.
Is that a fair statement?
At this rate, we're ahead of schedule. We're assuming it to be quicker if the weather holds out like this right now.
Can I ask you to come
Oh,
to the
yeah, you have to
microphone,
talk
please?
to the microphone.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jim.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Jim Gibson. I'm the owner's representative for the Chehalis tribe for this roundabout project. So right now, we actually kicked it off a week ago, and we've already demoed all the asphalt. We're actually already filling the grade. We're ahead of schedule already. If the weather continues to hold, we're going to get done prior to this time, and we're going to open it back up. We're hoping that it'll be less than this, but this is what we're asking for today, based on contractor schedule.
I am very happy, exceedingly happy with the partnership with our tribal partners out there, with Chehalis doing this in conjunction with us. And as Teresa said, this is for the betterment or benefit of the citizens and for safety issues and for the businesses, the commerce in that area. It's going to be a huge, really cool improvement. But I have just one question. Is this going to impede my getting to the burger claim?
Absolutely not. It's going to facilitate that, I think.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. All right, do we have a motion?
I would move to pass a resolution for temporary closure of 198th Avenue Southwest from Old Highway 99 Southwest to the Key Bank Drive through exit and the commercial driveway access on 198th Avenue Southwest east of Old Highway 99 Southwest, commencing at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, and continuing until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, May 1st, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, very much for coming in. 7E, Edward, BNSF Railway Company Bridge Underpass Agreement. Hello, Rick.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Public Works is requesting approval to enter into an agreement with Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad Company for the design, construction, and maintenance of 2 new rail line bridges underpasses at the location where the Chehalis Western Path intercepts the BNSF corridor west of Rainier Road Southeast. The agreement identifies the roles and responsibilities of both parties for the design, construction, and maintenance of the new facilities and the compensation Thurston County will provide BNSF. The project will significantly improve the safety of trail users and reduce risks for both the county and BNSF. Once BNSF's construction work is complete, the county anticipates constructing a new section of the Chehalis Western Trail to connect an existing gap in the trail on property that the county purchased over 25 years ago as part of the Regional Rails to Trails program. A previous wood trestle carrying the BNSF railroad was destroyed by a fire over 20 years ago, just as the county was planning to build that section of the Chehalis Western Trail under it. BNSF filled in that gap using their normal on-grade methods to restore train service as quickly as possible. This work eliminated trail access under the rail line. As a consequence, the Chehalis Western Trail detoured around this blockage by utilizing BNSF right-of-way property parallel to the railroad tracks and onto the shoulder of Rainier Road. So here is a summary of the agreement. 1, the county will pay BNSF an amount not to exceed $850,000 to design, construct, and maintain the 2 new bridges and underpasses. Now, it mentions 2. It's really one structure that goes under 2 lines, but that's the vernacular that Burlington uses. The expected full lifespan of these bridges is at least 75 years. BNSF will not accept a prepayment as part of this agreement for the design, construction, or maintenance of a potential future 3rd bridge underpass. However, they will provide a minimum of 3 years advance notice to the county in order to allow time to secure funding should BNSF ever decide to build that 3rd rail line. However, BNSF has indicated that installing a third line anywhere in Thurston County is not on any of their long-range plan, and such a mega project would take several years of planning. 2, BNSF expects to begin staging material and equipment in early 2019 and be completed within 120 days. The actual bridge construction is estimated to take around 2 weeks. 3, the county will pay BNSF for a temporary construction license and property easement, as well as BNSF's administrative processing fees, all of which is expected to be less than $40,000. REIT and park impact fee funding in the amount of $1 million was approved by the Board of County Commissioners during 2018. A request to carry forward this funding to 2019 is pending. The anticipated cost of $850,000 for the design, construction, and maintenance, and the approximate $40,000 for property easements and trail construction permits. The remaining $100,000 will be used for staff time for construction coordination and unforeseen conditions. This project is in the 2019 Capital Facilities Plan. This agreement will support initiatives 2 and 7 of the county's strategic plan, improve community health, wellness, and safety, and support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. We're requesting the board would allow the county manager to sign this agreement. Any questions?
For the record, Rick, go ahead and identify yourself and your title.
Oh, I am
please.
sorry. I'm
That's all
Rick
right.
Thomas with Public Works.
All right. Questions or comments?
No, I don't think so.
Questions or comments? Go
Could
ahead.
you let the public know the restricted funds this is coming from? We're not taking out a general fund.
Correct.
We're very restricted on our resources, and this can't be used only for these type of issues.
That is correct. So it is being funded out of the REIT funds as well as the park impact funds. Yes.
And the purpose is for the citizens' safety and significantly reducing liability to the county.
That is absolutely correct.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve entering into an agreement, BF 100-13150, with Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway Company to design, construct, and maintain 2 new bridges/underpasses that will provide space for the Chehalis Western Trail to access under the existing BNSF rail lines, and to authorize the county manager to negotiate and sign the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much.
7F, on-call engineering and professional consultant services contract. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you. Rick Thomas again with Public Works.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, sir.
Can you expedite your presentation? We do have a public hearing
Yeah.
coming up.
Yes, I sure can.
Good, thank
you.
Public Works is requesting that we are allowed to expand our on-call contract caps from their existing $5 million to $9 million. In order to do this, we have 4 existing on-call contracts that range from $500,000 cap to $1 million cap. We'd like to raise 3 of those to $1 million. The third one from $1 million up to $2.5 million, and also add 2 additional contracts that were a part of the initial solicitation. That would raise our total cap funding amount from $5 million up to $9 million, and this would support our capital program for the next 2 years.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments?
No.
All right, okay, go ahead.
I would move to increase the contract limits from $500,000 to up to $1 million with Herrera Environmental Consultants, KPFF, and SCJ Alliance, and from $1 million to up to $2,500,000 with HDR Engineering. approve entering into on-call engineering and professional consulting contracts with Fuhr and Piers and Transpo Group USA Incorporated, up to $500,000 each, and authorize the Director of Public Works to negotiate and sign each contract up to the indicated limits. Negotiate and sign contract amendments up to 5% additional contingency, approve option year extensions as deemed appropriate, and negotiate and sign individual task orders for specific consulting services.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you, sir.
very
Now
much.
we're moving on to 8 on the agenda, and that's the commissioners and the county manager items. Go ahead, Romero.
I think we have Michelle Underwood will present the item.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Michelle Underwood, Budget Staff to the Commission. Before you because we have an application for a telecommunications franchise agreement with Wycom. It's now known as Consolidated Communications. They had a 50-year franchise agreement which expired 12 years ago. We're doing the process. I'm asking you to set the public hearing. We'll do the public notice, and we'll continue to work through negotiations with the company. Any questions?
No. I have no questions.
Neither do I. Go ahead.
I would move to waive the 20-day legal notice requirement to a 15-day notice in accordance with RCW 3655040 and set a public hearing for Tuesday, February 19th, 2019 at 3 p.m. or shortly thereafter at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to receive public comments on the proposed telecommunications franchise application with Consolidated Communications, YCOM.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That
Thank
motion
you.
carries. Thank you. 8B, an appointment to the Agricultural Advisory Committee.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Under normal circumstances, you have this consent agenda where, as Commissioner Edwards stated, there's a lot of discussion when you consider a certain individual who can serve many boards and commissions. And those discussions occur mainly on Tuesday morning during your agenda setting. This particular item for your consideration is as a department item because you would like to have a broader conversation related to this particular appointment. So for your consideration is the appointment of Ms. Juanita McClure to the Agriculture Advisory Committee, and the term will be from January 29, 2019 to January 29, 2021.
Questions or comments?
I had asked that this be removed from the consent calendar. I made a record about why at the last meeting on the 22nd about my concerns and why I don't support the appointment. I'd refer curious citizens to our discussion at that time. I don't need to get back into it. Just ask that we have a vote on it and take it off the consent calendar.
Questions or comments?
No, sir.
All right. Is there a motion?
I would move to appoint Juanita McClure to the Agricultural Advisory Committee for a term beginning January 29th, 2019 to January 29th, 2021.
I'll second that. And then for discussion, you said Juanita, but I don't know. I don't think it's Juanita.
Is what, Wakita?
Wakita?
Wakita, okay.
McClure. I don't want to appoint the wrong one.
There you go. That was my mistake.
That's all right. And so it's been moved and seconded to appoint Wakita McClure to the Agriculture Advisory Committee. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Now we move to the part of the agenda where the commissioners want to report on things, but for the dispensing of time, because we're 10 minutes past the public hearing time, I don't have anything to report. Is there anything you need to report? Anything you need to report on?
Nope.
a
There's going to
long
be
list,
some,
but we
I know,
just can't do it.
there's going to be a point at which I'm going to need an hour because it's stacking up.
Yeah, it's stacking up.
We didn't have a chance last time either, so.
Is there anything you want to spit out though real quick, one or two items?
I'll just really quick, been going to a lot of meetings, getting up to speed. Just some of the most impressive things I've seen is a presentation to the Opioid Response Task Force from folks who are running a program in Snohomish County that has several different components, many of which I think are potentially translatable to our community. And I'm excited to work with our sheriff, prosecutor, public defense, director of public health, and my fellow commissioners to see if we can move some of those ideas forward. Another thing I wanted to just talk about was a program I saw in Tenino, which related to educating students. It's called TIER, educating students on the technologies and skills for renewable energies. It's just a great program for one of our rural communities, combined with education, combined with energy, modernization. It just seems to put a lot of pieces together. Tenino got this as kind of a pilot project. I'm not sure how they pulled it off, but it's a really cool thing for Thurston County. And then finally, Transportation Policy Board I sit on, and if you haven't seen Lacey's bicycle and pedestrian plan that they put together, please check it out online. It's an incredible document, interactive, that shows you all the different ways that you can bike and walk through Lacey that you might have never imagined. And it's just a really well put together document.
Yes?
I'm great.
20 seconds, 22 seconds. A highlight of my last 2 weeks, though there was a ton of stuff, was meeting with Senator Randy Becker on a mental health bill that she's sponsoring called Telehealth, and it's providing mental health treatment for our youth in middle school and high school. And if this passes, Washington State will be the first in the country that will have legislation for mental health services for our youth. And the second highlight was the point in time count, where I spent my afternoon at Rosie's place with CYS and working with the kids there. And the North Thurston Education Foundation published a stat that if a youth doesn't graduate high school, he or she is 347 times more likely to be homeless and 8 times more likely to end up in jail. So if we can count it and it's predictable, then it should be preventable. That was a big eye-opener for me. And that's all I have. County Manager. Go ahead.
Let me say one thing, then, being you all got a shot at this. Last week, I was out to a meeting in Yelm in reference to biosolids being applied to property out there. These biosolids contain all kind of nasty stuff. Putting it bluntly, it's human waste that comes from a septic disposal plant. And the big concern is that it is in close proximity to the Nisqually River, a very high water table around that property, and hard pan that's only about a foot down, so very limited topsoil. And pharmaceuticals are a big piece of this. And even Department of Ecology says they do not know the impact of pharmaceuticals, but they seem to be willing to permit this application process. If this goes through, there will be biosolids coming from out of the state of Washington as well as in the state of Washington. So for those individuals that might have a concern, please feel free to get a hold of our health department here or our individual offices. All 3 commissioners are aware of this.
Thank you, sir. County Manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through quickly about your combined schedule for the upcoming week. The appointments listed in my report is where at least 2 commissioners will be present, and you may have individual appointments on your individual calendars, and those will not be part of my report. As soon as you're closed, the Board of County Commissioners this afternoon, you will host a public hearing related to the standards for the delivery of public defense services. 4 in the afternoon, you have an appointment with the Thurston County Media, where you will have the taping of Meet the Commissioners, you as a board. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 30th, you have been invited 5:30 in the afternoon to attend the Sea Level Rise Joint Elected Officials meeting. Thursday, January 31st, at 10 in the morning, you will have the Courthouse and Civic Center project. Next steps will be outlining the next steps to take on this particular project. Nothing on your combined schedule for Friday, February 1st. Moving on to Monday, February the 4th, you have a briefing, a conversation related to the lessons learned related to the budget as we conclude 2018. That will be 10:45 in the afternoon, in the morning on February the 4th. And then you will come back here on Tuesday, February the 5th to review the agenda and conduct the Board of County Commissioners meeting. That's
Thank
all
you,
I
sir.
have for you.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Movement to adjourn.
I would move to adjourn this January 29th Board of County Commissioners meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Now we're going to open up the public hearing. Boink. There we go. The topic is Thurston County Ordinance Number 14114, Standards for the Delivery of Public Defense Services. The purpose of this public hearing is the subject of today is to accept public testimony on amending Thurston County Ordinance Number 14114, Standards for the Delivery of Public Defense Services to better align Thurston County Public Defense Standards for Public Defense with the Washington State Bar Association's Standards for Public Defense. There's a sign-up sheet in the back at the entrance to this room. Please add your names if you wish to testify. I don't know if anybody has signed up. No? All right. We'll give it just a moment. Anybody from the gallery that hasn't signed up want to testify? No. Okay, then we're going to move right on into the public hearing. No, now we open the public hearing. There we go. And we have a staff presentation. Patrick O'Connor, the Director of Office of Public Defense, is going to provide background information, written comments submitted to the public hearing, and any additional information requested by the board.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Please forgive me. I'm not feeling well, but I'm happy to be here. Patrick O'Connor, the Director of the Public Defender's Office for Thurston County. What the board has before it today is essentially an update to the standards of indigent defense and updating our county code. When I was first appointed director and I reviewed those ordinances in Thurston County, they were just outdated. There was a complete overhaul that the Washington State Bar Association's Board of Governors adopted in June of 2011. And so it was an opportunity for us to update our ordinances. So what you have before you in Attachment A are a reflection of those changes. There are several changes. I'll highlight a couple of them. There are 18 standards that are in our ordinance, and they mirror the state standards for indigent defense. And as some of you county commissioners are familiar with, over the past year, I've had to reference the state standards and not our local standards. So this really aligns Thurston County with the state standards for indigent defense. Some of the highlights of the changes that are reflected in Attachment A are the maximum caseloads for public defenders. You'll see a change there from the 2008 standards to the 2011. You'll also see some significant changes in Standard 3, 6, and 10 respectively. I can go into further detail if that's necessary. If the board has any questions, but overall this is a reflection of what we've been practicing in Thurston County at the Public Defender's Office. We just needed our ordinances to catch up.
Okay. Questions or comments?
Is there any significant difference between the state standard and what you guys have prepared? Anything tailored to Thurston County that we should be aware of?
Well, there is, Commissioner Rentzer. As I indicated, Standard 3 specifically, that reduced the maximum caseloads for an individual public defender, specifically in adult felonies and juvenile representations. Standard 6, that was a big change, and that's due to case law. The standard changed from public defenders should use investigators to investigate their cases to shall, and that's a reflection of case law, putting that onus on public defenders and that duty on public defenders to investigate cases on behalf of their clients. Also, Standard 6, we see a change there, and that's an interdepartmental or departmental change. something that our office really needed to address, which is the designation in our office of senior public defenders. Our old ordinance tied that senior designation to supervisory responsibilities. We only have 3 supervisory opportunities in our office, and so it really didn't allow us to promote in our office to that senior designation unless there was a supervisory opening. And so that removes that language. I've had that discussion with HR, and it's very much in line with the prosecuting attorney's office. Those are some of the big fundamental changes. There's a lot of changes and a lot of edits, but those are some of the big ones.
Anything else? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, and is there anybody from the public, again, one more time, that wants to address this issue, this being a public hearing? Don't see anybody. All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I would move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed, and what is the pleasure of the board?
I'm prepared to make a motion, but I would like to hear what, if there's any concern about moving forward at this point in time.
Well, I'm not.
I don't have any concern. I'm
Okay.
familiar with these state standards, and so
I want to make sure I defer to proper counsel.
Yeah.
Recognizing your past profession, sir.
Makes sense.
Okay. I would move to approve an ordinance amending Thurston County Ordinance Number 14114, Standards for the Delivery of Public Defense Services.
Second.
It's been moved, and that takes effect. Do you have an effective date on yours?
As soon as you sign the ordinance, Commissioner.
It'll be 7 days after today?
No, as soon as we sign.
As soon as you sign.
Oh, I have a different one then. Okay, then. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you. Now, do we adjourn again, or we're done?
You're done.
Okay, we're done. There we go. It's a wrap.